What's up guys, Corey has no life here and welcome to episode number 17 of the Formula 1 Noob career mode. This time we are from the Russian Grand Prix at the Sochi, I guess it's Olympic Park, even though it's not the Olympic Park anymore. And we're just going to quickly jump into things here and have a look at the messages when we get into it. Five messages there, so hopefully we got good news coming, and it's not. All three of our chassis upgrades have failed. That is horrible. And it looks like we've also got an R&D reset coming up soon, which is going to affect most of our R&D tree. So that is another little bit of quite horrible news actually. So we're going to have to get these three upgrades going again, and then we're going to have to try and build up some resource points in hope that we can save most of our upgrades when the reset does start taking effect. So let's start moving on to qualifying.
Welcome back to Sochi. We're about to be joining the action down in the pit lane as the cars get ready to embark on their qualifying runs. It always looked like the kind of track that asks an awful lot of the rear tyres, such as the frequency of low-speed exits.
Lots of low-speed exits means the rears are in for a lot of punishment. It's all too easy to spin them up coming out of a corner too aggressively. It might look great for us as spectators, as we love to see a car driven beyond its limits, but it's not going to result in a great long-run pace.
So now it's time for us to get straight into qualifying here. We're going to go straight out onto the track for our lap. Now I actually really enjoy driving around this Sochi circuit. It's just got the right amount of slow and fast that suits me quite nicely. And it's just a fairly flowing circuit. I know a lot of people hate this place, but I really enjoyed all the practice programs, even the qualifying and the race here. You see we're coming up to the end of the first sector here. We're hitting the apexes just nicely this time. Just missed that one a little bit there. But all in all, fairly subdued, fairly calm. We didn't want to push too hard to cause a mistake, but we didn't want to lollygag in the back, because with the way that everyone is at the moment, it just seems that everyone's really stepped up their driving as well as their R&D development. So it'll be interesting to see where we unfold from here. As we see Devin Butler, 138, going up to reach the provisional pole position. We'll cross the line and we'll get a 1:35.7 to take provisional pole here. But then we skip forward to the end of qualifying one and we've dropped down to the 6th position. So that is going to be, not the best way to start the qualifying here. But as we move on to the next qualifying session now, Q2, we're going to see what we can do to try and improve our position here. We're just trying to stay as smooth and consistent as we possibly can, pushing these soft tyres to their absolute limits. As you can see, we're also at the limits of the racing line there as well. We missed the apex there again as we come onto this tight little section before the long second DRS straight here, which has got a couple of curves in it, but still very muchly so a straight. Sergio Perez goes for a 136 to take provisional pole at the moment. We reach the end of the straightaway, brake very deeply down to second gear to try and get the rotation into this tight little section, up into third for the second part. And we're going to do the same in this next little left-right combo. Down to second for the rotation, up to third. Oh no, not third this time. Lucas Weaver now goes for a 136.0. We come across the penultimate corner, hitting the apex perfectly. Out of the final corner, and we get a 135.8 to put us on provisional pole again. Skip forward to the end of the session, and it's only good enough for P8 at the moment. See, Lucas Weaver has put himself in second. And it looks like that's about it for anyone that's worth noting here at the end of the second qualifying. So we're going to jump into qualifying 3 now. And this is the one that's going to set the grid for us. We hit the DRS as early as we possibly can, using up all the track that we can. Braking very deeply for this 90-degree right-hand corner before we go along this long sweeping left-hander. Now this is the kind of corner that tyres really hate because it's slightly off camber. And you know, you're picking up speed the entire way around it. It's a flat foot, ball to the wall kind of a corner. We go purple to the first sector, but that's alright because no one's laid a lap down yet. We missed that apex again. Valtteri Bottas goes for a 136.1 on his first time around the track. We get a little bit of oversteer there off the exit curb as we're coming down. Third gear very early there, which overrode the engine quite a bit. A little bit slow on the DRS for the second straightaway, which definitely hampered us a little bit. Lewis Hamilton goes for a 135.8. As we come across this tight little twisty section again, coming out of it, getting as close to the apexes as we possibly could with the limits of grip that we had. Through the penultimate corner, just nicely clipping the apex again, into the final corner, taking as much curve as we can. Lucas Weaver went more at 135, we go for a 135 as well.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top 3. Bottas, Leclerc and Lucas Weber. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then. So,
Charles Leclerc out-qualified us here. Lucas Weaver did as well in P3, and we're down in P7 for the start of this race. As we're going to see the rivalry updates, which we're leading over George Russell still. In fact, we could almost close off that rivalry by the end of this race. See the resource point gain as well now. As you can see, the overall total is very low there. That's because we did indeed put on the 3 chassis upgrades again.
All right, I think we can call that a successful qualifying. We should be in with a good chance in the race.
So I'm going to have sunshine for the race, so it's time to go to the race session and see what we can do.
Good afternoon from Sochi as we prepare to get underway for the Russian Grand Prix. The championship battle has some time to go yet, but still expect no quarter to be given here on this circuit that made its debut in 2014 and has already seen some classic racing. Alongside me to discuss all the action today is Anthony Davidson. Thanks for joining us, Ant, and tell me, you were down in the pit lane earlier. How do you think the track conditions are today?
Well, the surface looks clean enough, but I'm a little bit worried about the track temperature. It's pretty cool out there, which could give some teams difficulties when it comes to keeping their tyres in the right operating window. The cars out there that work their tyres hard and really put a lot of energy through them, they'll be the ones that are better off.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas, The Finn starts from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Weber, Hamilton, Kevin Magnussen, and a Williams, Perez, Hülkenberg, Gasly, and Max Verstappen. Raikkonen, Stroll, Carlos Sainz, and Vettel. They've taken a grid penalty. Grosjean, Russell, Lando Norris, and Devon Butler. Albon and Daniel Ricciardo fills the last spot on the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
So there we go. We're going to be starting out at P6 in this one up from where we thought we were going to be starting.
You're above where we expected
having
on
the
the
penalty
grid.
there.
Be careful not to lose places, as there will be faster cars around you.
Alrighty, whatever you reckon, Jeff. And it looks like we're going for a very good strategy here. Lots of tyre life that we got to play around with. So we could look at going long on the soft tyres, but it's time to start the race. Go to 5 red lights, and we're up and away for the Russian Grand Prix. We get a really good start here as we're right up side by side with Magnussen. We also get a tap in the butt from Perez there as well. And we even get the warning for it. But we're going to send it up the inside of Magnussen, almost up the inside of Hamilton as well. But Hamilton manages to fend us off around the outside of the corner. Looks like Charles Leclerc has been hung out to dry on the outside of the long sweeping left. But then everyone starts checking up very early and we just thunder our way past Hamilton. What an overtake that was. And now we're going to go and get Lucas Weber too. We get a little bit of wing damage while we're at it.
It'll need replacing if it takes too much damage.
Alrighty, thank you very much for that, Jeff, as we go wide to the next corner because of that wing damage. But hopefully we don't let it hinder us too much as we head on to the rest of the Grand Prix. It looks like we've got Charles Leclerc in front of us now. That's the man that we want to catch because he is our rival after all. So if we're going to beat anyone here, I reckon Charles is the only one that we want to look at trying to beat. Into this tight twisty section, that wing damage is definitely going to hamper us this entire race unless we get it repaired, which I don't think I want to do.
That's a strong start. Well done.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Muchly appreciated, my dude. But shut up, very kindly. He's coming to the end of lap now, 1 now. Bottas is in the lead and we're going to be in third, so we now move on to the start of lap 5. Bottas and Leclerc still in front of us, and Hamilton trying to challenge us around the inside of the DRS straight. He locks up and goes right into our line. We gave him a little bit of a tap on the way through to say, you got to be better on the brakes than that. As we come now to the end of lap 6, this is going to be our in lap. Follow the dotted blue line into where the pit entry is. And it looks like we're pitting earlier than most people again. So we're going to look at getting the undercut on the guys in front of us. We'll see if this will play to our advantage when everyone comes in for their pit stops.
Go, go, go.
Another nice, clean, smooth pit stop as we come out of the pits now.
Complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
And it looks like we are quite the fair way behind the rest of the pack at the moment. As we skip now to the end of lap 8, looks like some of the other people are starting to make their pit stops. And it looks like Lewis Hamilton is on his way out of the pits, and he's actually made the overcut work on us here. So Hamilton come out in front of us after the pit stop cycle. So this could mean very bad things for us as we skip on to lap 10 now. And we have actually gotten around Lewis Hamilton. And he's now trying to make the challenge on us around the left-hand side. He actually got the position made, and then we lock up terribly. Double lock up into this tight, twisty penultimate section. And now we move on to the last lap of the Grand Prix, lap 13. At the moment, it looks like we're just not going to quite have the legs to catch Leclerc, but we heard on a previous lap, which you guys didn't actually get to hear, Leclerc has got an issue, and we are catching him at the rate of knots right now. George Russell is out of the race. That is unfortunate for our teammate. We're going to go check the replay camera here to see what happened. And it looks like it is mechanical or electrical. So that's our teammate George Russell out on the penultimate lap. And not even that, it's the penultimate corner of the penultimate lap. As we continue on with our final lap here. And we are closing in on Leclerc at the rate of knots. And I reckon we'll be about close enough to him now that we're going to get DRS in the DRS zone. We do have the fastest lap of the GP at the moment. As we head into the DRS straight now. We are on the limit of our fuel, only 0.15 of a lap left as we head into the DRS zone. And we're closing in on Leclerc, couldn't quite get him coming into this section, but we give him a tap to say, hey, we're here. Hope you're awake. And then we get him coming into the second part of this tight section. Make that move stick quite nicely with another big double lockup.
Someone's come off ahead of you. There's a yellow flag ahead.
The yellow flag is still out for our teammate George Russell, who's still sitting on the side of the track. So we come around the final corner, and that is P2.
Good job, you did really well. Super driving.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today and the results speak for themselves.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
There is the podium celebration as me and Valtteri have a little bit of banter here on the podium. Charles Leclerc managing to hold on to stay in P3 ahead of Lewis Hamilton, which we actually lost on that last lap. We were just
Let's have a quick look at how the driver's standings have changed. It's a great result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
It has to be said, Roman Grosjean certainly had my eye today. He made impressive gains during the race.
It's time to see how things
So
are shaping up
in
the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.
Devin Butler stayed steady in 18th, and we scroll down to the very bottom, and unfortunately our teammate George Russell, the only retirement of the race. Quickly have a look at the standings. We've moved up into P2 again ahead of Vettel, and the standings for constructors is still fairly similar. So now let's move on to our interview with Claire.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. You really cut your way through the field today. What was your strategy? Everything went your way today. It looked like you had a really good strategy for the race. Do you think your rival learned from his battle with you? It's safe to say you're smashing everyone's expectations, isn't it? Great. Well, that's everything.
So now it's time to go and have a look at our rivalry update and our resource point update. And we got all 5 ticks across the board, so we're going to beat our rivalry with George Russell. And we are still losing to Leclerc here at the moment. See the resource point update here as well. And we get the race bonus, the team bonus, and the rivalry bonus. So that's going to move us up to 1,600 resource points now. And we see we've got full reputation with all teams, and it looks like
podium. Well done. Keep pushing like this for the rest of the season.
we've got contract negotiations again. Now, at this point in time, guys, I'm going to end the episode here, and we'll see if we're going to stay with Williams or maybe possibly think about moving to a different team. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and maybe in the comments, say what team you want me to go to. I'm open to almost anything. As per usual, we'll leave you with the highlights as provided by Formula 1 2019. So until the next episode, I'll see you guys next time.